Hey everybody, my name is Rydo, and today we're looking at a Hat in Time. We're beginning coverage of a Hat in Time. So, when you try to think of clones of a 3D platformer like Super Mario 64, there aren't very many of them, and almost all of them are Nintendo games, other Mario 3D platformers. And those always play on Nintendo consoles and not PC. So, in 1997, there was a Kickstarter for this game, A Hat in Time. It actually got made, which is super surprising for a Kickstarter, and got published by Humble Bundle onto Steam, and I'm sure Humble Bundles sells it on some other services too. And so, honestly, this may be the only 3D platformer that I can think of off the top of my head worth playing on PC as a kind of a kid-friendly 3D platformer. Now, I've somewhat recently, it's been a long time for me, covered a game called Yooka-Laylee, which also, I believe, crowdfunded in some way, and then turned out to be quite the disappointment, to the point where their sequel game, Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, changed their gameplay style completely to a totally different type of game, more of a Donkey Kong Country style of game, which honestly we could use more Donkey Kong Country clones on PC also. We could also use more 3D platformers. There should be more than just A Hat in Time, and I've not heard any news as of right now, as of recording, that there's even going to be a sequel, although there has been some DLC, and I do have the DLC. Unfortunately, modern games now seem to constantly have ads in them, regardless of even if you've purchased everything, like ads for merchandise, and ads for DLC that's even been purchased, ads for the soundtrack, twice over, in a regular soundtrack and an 8-bit soundtrack. There are these mods which do sound interesting, but I wouldn't want to play the game with these mods enabled, and I imagine these mods are not changing the game so much as possibly just reskinning some parts of the game. And then there are some levels that I think actually do mod the game, but you have to have 8 time pieces first, and maybe a hat is what that is representing. So, settings wise, this menu is a little rough, I have to admit. Like, it is keeping everything nice and big, and I do play games on my TV 10 feet away, and my eyesight as I get older is not getting better, certainly. So it is nice to be able to easily read all of this, but it does get pretty rough as far as how little of the menu is actually being shown, and then at the bottom you're getting a long description of what everything does, which actually is rather nice too. So with a little bit more work and a little bit more visual polish, this might be the beginnings of a wonderful standard menu system. But you can definitely tell that had they just taken the back button and the confirm button and put them in the lower right and lower left corners, or both in the lower right corner, that would save them some room. But they didn't do that. None of these settings, with perhaps the camera smoothing, I've changed, but the graphic settings I've brought up to 1080p. Window type is full screen by default. I turned off VSync because that doesn't affect the recording, and they actually explain it as it adds input lag, which I've never even considered that or known that. Then I've just gone to advanced graphics. I've recently bought a GTX RTX 2080 graphics card, so there's really no reason why this shouldn't be at the highest setting possible. But again, look at just how much you scroll down for all these functions, all these options. But pretty much everything is just set to the maximum, and that's about it. I have externally turned down the audio which I have to do for almost every game. And it is kind of weird that there is out of focus volume, which would mean the volume when the game window is minimized, which actually I wasn't able to do. I had to hit Alt Tab to have that happen. So it's kind of a feature that I don't even think works in full screen. This didn't start in full screen mode, which I would have preferred if it had. Now, my recordings are stereo. What goes on YouTube is stereo. So 3D positional audio will probably affect how things sound a little bit, but nowhere as much as it would if I had my computer and my recording software set up in some way that it could read more of the Pro Logic 2 or DTS Dolby Digital type settings, if that's even what they mean by 3D audio, or if they're using some other 3D audio scheme. As far as controllers, I'm playing on an Xbox One controller, and everything is pretty much staying the same. They've added a multiplayer mode and an online party where you could have 50 friends playing with you at the same time. I'm going to do my best to have that disabled so we can just play through the game all the way through. But that's as much setup, more setup than we really even needed to jump into the game. So it's like Mario 64. Something's going to happen. It's going to motivate our main character, who I don't even know the name of her. I've tried to keep myself mostly ignorant about this game, knowing that it was coming. Gears for Breakfast, I guess maybe is the name of the company. I didn't even see the name of the company listed. I saw a bunch of individuals named. There is.
Good morning, and welcome to yet another day of space adventure.
Voice acting, nice.
5 light years away from your destination, home. The fuel tank is full and the ship is flying at full speed. Today's to-do list contains waking up, adjusting.
So she's basically a little girl in a spaceship going home. And I guess the idea is that in this universe, oh, she goes transparent. That is a cool feature. And voice acting already beats Mario 64. Of course it would. Like, why wouldn't a modern game have voice acting in it? So she's traveling in space by herself. And now she's swimming and in a bunch of pillows, which is cool. But there's nothing super secret down here, at least from what I can tell. And it doesn't seem like the pillows that pop up actually stay, they just disappear. Although they try to make it look like they actually end up resting at the top. So yeah, she's gonna have a motivation where she's gonna have to collect the equivalent of the Mario 64 120 stars to save the game, and that's gonna be the main focus. It's kind of weird in the age here, because here you have like characters in a mobile, and yet you wouldn't think that even in the future a child would be left alone. It does open the idea to potentially even if a computer could raise a child for yourself, would you ever really trust it to? Let's see, right trigger to drop, and now the ball is down there, and I was standing on the ball. Seems like I might be able to target something at some point. But you have kind of a it goes in the opposite direction, so I may need to invert this. So yeah, this feels very kid-friendly, and there's really no reason not to have a game like this be kid-friendly. A closet, you only really wear one outfit, so there's a lot of room for skeletons. So we're not going to get full voice acting for everything. We've found some collectible. And we've spun in a chair. And I think gotten dizzy. What triggered a cutscene? Did I start some sequence that I didn't realize I was going to start? Or is this... Nope. It's just going to sit there forever. She has a punch with the X button, jump. B button doesn't seem to do anything. Y seems to look up. Okay. So... let's move forward and take the ball with us. You can kind of tell the spaceship is for her. So maybe she doesn't need or have any parents. This is a general hub world. It might also be the standard trope of she's actually really old and just looks really young. But then that kind of doesn't make sense as far as why everything here is so kid friendly. So here's some TV, which maybe goes to a minigame. Seems like time just slows down and you go into a observation mode. I bet that probably does unlock some minigames at some point. And I bet each of these checks opens up a new area. Here's your vault of stuff you're almost certainly going to lose. This might be some kind of menu system. This might be a return system. So these are probably cinematics. I have no idea what those are, but again, something you would unlock. So let's see what this is. Welcome to the online party. Collapse dimensions together and see your friends. So that's new. Turn it on to journey alongside players from other worlds. Or in a party name to just play with your friends. So we're gonna leave that off. So that was just not there, and in fairness, that was also DLC that I had to buy. Here's a little Roomba. It's complaining because I'm riding on it, and I just got an achievement for riding on the Roomba. Like, I'm liking this so far quite a bit. Like, it does feel a little bit more lighthearted and open world than Mario 64, because Mario 64 in particular starts with the standard Bowser has kidnapped the princess and you have serious business. Had you spent half of the first act of Mario 64 not bothering to do anything other than just have fun, that would have been nice. So no anomalies right now. See if we can abuse this so much and get another achievement. Yeah, that doesn't seem like that's gonna do anything. Alright. Let's see what happens when we throw the ball. I'm not getting the targeting. And it doesn't seem like these are going to blow up so easily. Alright. This door is open, so this checkbox must be an indicator there. This is a pretty good tutorial section because of just the simple fact that you're getting a handle of the controls at your own pace. The game isn't throwing an enemy at you or making anything dangerous happen. Seems like there might be something back here in the trash can. So you can just run around. So this girl is given a very fancy kitchen full of food. It's a microwave. You use it to punish food that's been bad. Looks like there's an indicator showing through the menu. And then there's just a bunch of alien looking food. So we'll leave the refrigerator open. And we can't fall in the water. It seems to... There we go. So either there's more robots that cook for you, or there's somebody that cooks for you, or she just does cook herself. On this, which is out of scale, and pretty much everything else on the ship outside of this room has felt like it was totally designed for a little kid to potentially live on their own. So it doesn't fully make sense. That I would have probably told them to scale down the refrigerator and scale down the thing. Now maybe we'll unlock some characters throughout our experience in the game, and those characters will become the chef or something like that. But I think that's probably as much goofing around as we need to do. This is, I think, how we're going to enter the levels, and we're going to go to different parts of that planet and do the levels. And like Mario 64, there will be mini levels, and in each level there'll be iterations. Each iteration will have at least one collectible to get. Now, according to howlongtobeat.com, so it's the fuel that we'll be collecting, 40. This is a game that takes about 12 hours, where I imagine Mario 64 without the internet helping you. Let's see, use left trigger to find your goal. Yep, there's someone banging on the door now. So we move the story forward. I feel like Mario 64 probably took 30 to 60 hours to get everything. It still may very well take 30 to 60 hours for me, because I'm not the fastest player ever. So I'm sitting in the chair, and that went into observation mode instead, and that got me another achievement. I have the Steam overlay enabled. I should disable it. So here's a guy knocking on the door in space.
What is this? Flying boat? All boats need to pay toll in Mafia Town, even in space. Mafia come in to collect.
So there you have a adult mafioso. And so that's going to rip open the vault and lose all of her hourglasses, which were the fuel to get her home. Which I imagine there's actually more than 40 to collect. So now we have a reason to play the game and collect the collectibles. Chapter 1, Mafia Town. Welcome to Mafia Town. And Nayakuza Metro, I think, is also DLC, so I don't know if maybe that means the game is going to be slightly different or what. Also, the audio went quiet there, just went dead. So, it took longer to load than I suspect it should have, or it intended to. Level data is going to still take a while to load, even though I have an SSD, particularly on a more modern game, which this is. It's weird that she kind of runs up the wall by herself. And here's a TV that doesn't seem to do anything. And she's holding onto the ledge automatically. And there's some kind of collectibles. Alright, let's chase after her. Or am I supposed to do something else? Somebody else is beating her up. So yeah, let's just chase and see how we go. Double jumping. I didn't get high enough. Where'd you go?
Hey
So
you! Down there! Don't think I didn't see you stalking me!
voice acting, actual voice acting.
Us kids should stick together, not stalk one another. I mean, Mafia Town can be a really dangerous place. So what'd you say? Wanna join my little rebellion? Oh, by the way, did you have anything to do with the junk falling from the sky? Yeah? Yikes! Looks like you've got a lot of cleaning up to do, huh?
So it looks like our character's not
Tell
going
you
to
what,
speak.
Come up here and I can show you where some of your junk landed.
And it looks like we probably want to collect 100 of these. Let's get up here. Wow, seems like I kind of fell off there and the game fixed
Follow me,
itself.
rebel squad.
Where did she go? Yep. She seems to have a jump ability that I'm lacking.
Hey, I think one of your junk pieces fell and smashed right into the market's fountain. Messed it up real good. When going over there, just avoid making eye contact with the Mafia and you'll be fine. Good luck, fellow rebel. See ya!
I don't think her voice acting's terrible for that character, but I would say it is a little odd. So it seems like what we're going to do is we're going to have a lot of the same Mafia guys as our enemies, and it's mostly going to be just like a stealth thing. I may very well not collect 100 and then have to start over again. They also, I suppose, are going with the Star Wars theory that there is actually oxygen in space. Alright, so now I have an umbrella to attack people with. There we go. So she actually does talk. But yeah. It's always been my theory that there was oxygen in the universe of Star Wars, and that's why people see explosions. And I would also argue At one point in a later Star Wars movie, at least one character breathed in space and didn't just immediately die. And it does seem, at least for this instance, it is very much you collect one and then you leave the area, which may be a burdensome reloading feature that probably shouldn't happen. I will say Mario 64 was very good about actually not loading as badly as it could have. So we've unlocked an area. Powers have been restored to the main hall. The chapter Mafia Town is now available. Okay. So I can look through this and I can just go to the next area. So that's Act 3. That's Act 2. Well, this is Act 3, this is Act 1, this is Act 2. So there must be a decent amount of acts. And here we have, this has been boarded over, so I'm not going to get into levels that way. We now know we need 7 to unlock that. We have 45 of these. So maybe we need to collect 100. We have 0 presents, which I guess we'll need. We need 25 here. This is our total count. So we will be going 2 levels through here. I almost certainly would assume that the Mafia Town areas will be the same, but the way they're depicting this will be just different chapters, different instances. And we'll be getting told this kind of cutesy story. Again, audio. There's a couple things here. A couple things that shouldn't be happening, with the audio going quiet and the loading taking a little too long. And I would love to see that improved over a patch, which I kind of feel like there's a decent chance this might get a patch.
What?
Let's see. You have a blue vault code. It's part of the code to the vault. We've seen some lines of dialogue, which I imagine is our rebellion girl with the mustache. I like that they're humans. Yeah, there definitely is going to have to be some other ability to jump, though. I'm going to have to get something somewhere. I now have the umbrella permanently. This doesn't look like this is just a thing. It looks like there might be some more abilities later. Still not really doing anything with the B button. Well, maybe there's a way to use the umbrella to hover. I am not seeing anything like that, though. Like, oh, there's a dash button with the right trigger. You switch hats at some point with the right bump, alright? Okay, I think I've kind of got it figured out. Let's see, will these guys talk to me? They'll play patty cake with me. Was there something more to this? Interesting. So there's probably something more to that. There's kind of a hook shot over there. What we don't really have is a great way to get health back. It doesn't seem like these guys give us health. So that might be a concern. Doesn't seem like we can blow up those yet. That is health. We now found a relic, which looks like it's a cake. That was a guess. It's kind of nice to see collectibles stay collected. So, over many instances, we may get all the collectibles needed in this game, and we'll probably need some more abilities to get everything, but we won't have to go back and do it all in one run. Whereas Mario 64, and it is weird to be really comparing things to Mario 64. Balloons get you higher. I just figured out. Yep. Mario 64 did have that situation where you could lose 1 star, and by losing 1 star or having trouble finding that last coin or that last star, you might have to restart a level. Although in all fairness, I think an average player would have only run into that problem maybe once in 120 stars. Right. My dash didn't work there. Was it because I hit the wrong button? Yes, I believe it was. Seems like this guy will just stay where he is. So I'm mostly goofing around at the moment, trying to get a handle on this level. But yeah, I think sprint yarn requires 2 yarns to stitch. So maybe I'll find some more yarns, and that will increase my sprint speed. I guess that's the general idea. Thematically, I guess this is Mafia Town is just a half-constructed place with a little bit of junk. Seems like we've got one guy who's enraged, and you press X to counter, and we freed a guy, not the girl. Right. So now that we have 2, we can make a new hat. This hat looks ready to sprint. Hold the left trigger to sprint. Alright. It is kind of exactly in the Mario style of gameplay to have different hats give different abilities. But if you're gonna steal from the best. What can I say? It's a smart move. And we hardly have a situation where there's been too many people cook up mad concoctions. It requires 4 yarn to stitch. Like, if there was a long history of terrible 3D platformers on Steam, I would have a different tune this thing, but it's just not the case. Like, far too many people are willing to make a low effort asset flip first person shooter using the Unreal or Unity engine and put that on sale for Steam, but nobody wants to spend the admittedly large amount of effort to think out and plan a level and then place collectibles in the level and have a good platforming mechanic so that the game actually plays well. Like, I'm not feeling any real trouble right now as far as moving, although I did just mess up a jump there. Like, this seems easy and doable. Which is a lot more than I can say. I love that I can just be silly and childish and knock a guy off the edge. I guess it's slightly questionable whether I need to kill at some point every enemy on the ground in a level. That might be a necessary requirement to 100% it. And this is one of those games where you might as well embrace the 100% obsessive mentality, because if you're not going to try to 100% a game like this, you're not going to have much fun at all. This guy looks really, really glitchy. I wonder if he's a DLC character.
Young one. I am from a faraway land. I've seen every corner of the earth, and now I sell tiny pieces of my discoveries.
I feel like this guy is added from DLC.
You may call me the badge seller, for I sell and trade
It's
badges.
so glitchy looking.
I can provide you with strong abilities and upgrades to your hat. If you have money, of course.
I assume he is supposed to be glitchy looking and this isn't just something weird. Item magnet badge. Automatically pull your umbrella before deadly impact. Plug your ears and you can only hear vague mumbling. Let's get the item magnet badge. And that's a badge that just goes on your hat. Do I have enough to buy anything else? No, I'm a little short. But now I don't have to get exactly near these guys. And here's another. So there might be an achievement for doing that, or that this might just be silly. It is definitely nice though to not have to walk directly near something. I suppose there is a question to ask as far as can I get in here? Yes I can, but there's nothing in here. Does water kill me? Or am I fine in water? Because we saw that I was swimming. Yeah, I was swimming in the pots before. And I was swimming in the pillows before. So I need 3 to open that. Alright. I kind of feel like your health energy, the health energy refill things probably respawn.
All roads lead to Mafia. Not good. Big immigration problems. We fixed this by moving to island. Now no road lead to Mafia.
All mine.
So we're looking for a third ticket somewhere, I imagine. It is a little weird that some enemies talk to you and some enemies will interact with you and some enemies will seemingly attack you. So there were some invisible green blocks, very Mario 64. Like, and see, part of the genius here, can't break the eggs, is that if this is effectively taking mostly just concepts from Mario 64 and making a modern version of that, they then have Mario Galaxy, Mario Galaxy 2, Mario Odyssey, and let's see, have there been any other 3D platformers that have come out in the Mario series since 64? Mario Sunshine, I guess, also, if you can take any actual quality from any of the good parts from that, depending on how kind of poorly received Mario was, Mario Sunshine. There's almost certainly some elements you could steal. And that doesn't even begin to start with the idea that since this was at least relatively well received, why not make a spin-off? And she's up, standing on fire. That was a troll. Like, make a spin-off and make a clone of New Super Mario Brothers, which would be more of a not 3D platformer, but a 2D platformer game. And in a funny way, even though Nintendo would have been the predecessor there, Nintendo would have also failed to do the one thing that would have stopped this kind of competition from happening, which is they've never bothered to even pretend like they were ever going to release anything on PC. Not like PC is a competitor to the Nintendo Switch anyways, because it's, you're not going to give $1,000 PC to a kid.
Child can't open vault. Vault secured with code. Wait, Mafia code not in pocket.
I only have one of those. I thought it was flipping around because I already had 3 of them. This is more sprint yard. Interesting. I already have the sprint hat. Wonder if I'm gonna have to find the same yarns for the same hats always in multiple levels. I'm having a bit of a time trying to find the one location where we keep getting all this dialogue from. It just kind of seems like it is. Let's see. Left trigger sprint. Let's see. There really isn't a button here that seems like it points me in the direction I'm supposed to go. Yeah, I could have used a 3D fly around of the environment, so I had a general concept of the direction I'm supposed to go. This is like where we started the game, and I'm fairly certain we collected those.
Did fellow Mafia watch TV last night? Confusing science owls say small people can jump double in air. I saw. This makes Mafia uncomfortable with body. Must go work out.
There we go, we had all 3 of those. And so we get another sprint yarn and a bunch more collectibles. Is there anything here that's indicating how many collectibles are supposed to be gotten? Cook up mad concoctions. Press left trigger. What's funny is the left trigger looks like the right trigger. Alright. Alright, so let's see if that blows up that. Yes, it does. Does that do anything particularly special? So yeah, I feel like I may end up getting a lot of collectibles just for fun here, and not really have any reason to do that, or there will be some kind of map system that unlocks.
Not everything I sell is of value. I also sell terrible badges, and yet people buy them anyway.
Well, I'm definitely not gonna get enough. I'm definitely not gonna get enough to afford that for a while. Even if I can blow things up. That didn't work. Here's another place where you can just sit and let time slow down and look at the things around you. There's probably an achievement for Yep. Is there something where this crack is? No. Yeah, it says, dude, get off me. I'm serious, put me down. It's like I've been going the high road and I needed to be going the low road. And I find it kind of questionable that I would have figured it out. Like, this is kind of the problem with the, let's see. So, that took forever to find this. Yeah.
Hey, child, shoot! Mafia can't have child witness when Mafia teaching lesson.
See, so it would have improved my experience with this level and sped it up quite a bit had they just flown around and shown me that this was the goal where I was supposed to reach, and had kind of more of a
It's awkward for Mafia. Mafia not sure what to do.
more of a challenge to get to this point. Honestly, I may have been able to just walk directly to this with no skill needed whatsoever.
Boss, what do we do?
But they just kind of hid it from me.
Teach her lesson, boys.
That's not something that Mario 64 really did. There were a few hidden stars, certainly, and you would have had to found them or figured them out. But the name stars, and particularly the first few of them, would have been easier. See, we're still in the tutorial mode, and instead of this being a tutorial thing, it's become in midair to do a homing attack. Interesting.
No child will be in the way of Mafia.
So there is a mode. Let's see.
That's all you got?
They weren't expecting me to be able to throw explosives at them.
Mafia won't bow to little girl. Prepare to feel Mafia's wrath.
They don't even move the camera here to the right angle. Yep. This is kind of the problem of a Kickstarter game in
Do
general.
not think about avoiding barrels.
Is that because you never really have as much funding as you would like, there's always that room for a little bit more improvement. I'm kind of thinking that this is a first time game for all the people involved, and if that is truly the case, then I really just have to run in a circle here. The timing is designed in such a way, as long as I'm pressing forward, I'll be fine.
This lead nowhere. Mafia need to take care of this Mafia style. Prepare to feel what Mafia do to old ladies. That's all you get? You can jump? What the?
So the two attacks you can do
How did you?
actually work kind of nicely. But I was a little low on health, so I didn't want to push my luck. One assumes once we get this timepiece, we'll get our health back, and it's going dark, and then it goes bright again. I like the music. I like the little fanfare sound bits. Little bits of polish here and there, though.
What a bunch of losers.
Like, why am I not seeing her as a character? Why is she off screen?
You're all right, new kid. Do you have a name?
What's funny is that it kind of looks like she doesn't have a fake mustache on. It kind of looks like she just has a mustache, which maybe that is the case. Maybe this is a world where half the citizens are just kid looking and aren't actually kids.
shy? That's cool. You're a less talk, more fighting kind of girl, I take it.
So,
That thing
mostly
you got
silent
there.
protagonist
Are you
characters.
collecting them?
Funny.
Because
Put some
I
jokes
know
there.
where there's more of them.
Compared to Mario 64, you know, like, nobody ever talks to him except for Bowser in the entire game. There's really no room for comedy, no room for falling tension in any way. It is really just you have fairly laid back missions to get stars, and then you get into a Bowser boss fight, which is the most tense levels of the game, and then you'll go back to doing some fairly easy levels, and then you'll go back to a boss fight. But there's no relaxing, taking a break, or
They've been raining from the sky
comedy.
ever since you arrived. I've seen the goons bring them to their headquarters way up there.
they could have easily brought Luigi into Mario 64, which originally in the 3DS version you could play as Luigi after you beat the game or something, but in the original Super Mario 64 he's not in the game at all. Yoshi shows up at the very ending, then you just talk to him. I don't think you can actually play as him or anything like that. Princess Peach plays no role. Toad wasn't barely a character when Mario 64 came out, so there's no interaction there either.
We should go up there and get your junk. It'll be fun. I'll take any opportunity that involves messing up the Mafia. You with me, buddy?
So we've increased our friendship ratio with Mustache Girl. Which I guess our main character you'd call Hat Girl, for lack of a better name. Intruder alert. So we get an intruder alert, and she's now on the ship. And I imagine, as big as that carpet is, we will get a few people that are going to be friends. It has taken nearly an hour, though, to get the first two. Mostly that's because I was goofing around. We have 95 gems, and there's the Roomba complaining. It looks like we're not going to unlock anything else until we talk to Mustache Girl. There was one more level in Mafia Town, and I suspect we will see more things to collect. It would be very weird if there was only 3, maybe 4 things in Mafia Town, although that level isn't extremely big. I will say, oh, she's playing with dolls and making them kiss, and nobody's paying any attention. Interesting. They just started doing that, and that wasn't even like she started doing that after I stopped pushing any input for a prolonged amount of time. So I guess I'll keep the magnet badge. There's probably going to be several different types of weapons that we get, and the kid's hat would search for timepieces. So I need to put the regular hat back on at certain points, and probably need to use the sprint hat at other points too. Also, back button doesn't do anything. This game came out perhaps just right before the back button became more of a standard function, particularly in PC games. But this isn't just a PC game. I'm fairly certain this did come to PlayStation and Xbox, which that's definitely a great game to add to those lineups, because yeah, there aren't 3D platformers on the Xbox or the PlayStation consoles either. It's always been Mario and Nintendo, and Nintendo really only does Mario. It's not like they even expanded to make a Star Fox 3D platformer a thing, although they did sell one game that was like that called Star Fox Adventures a long time ago, and they've done nothing to support Mario Metroid as a series. This door is locked now. So you could have easily made a 3D platformer for the Metroid series, and they kind of did that with Metroid Prime, but that's more of a 3D platformer with a lot of shooting. And they haven't really done anything new with that, although they are promising. Anyways, that's where we're going to have to end this recording. Good progress so far. The only real fear, with some caveats, the loading and the going silent when it's loading is a little weird. And the camera seems like it's a little awkward. But otherwise everything is going great, and I'm only slightly concerned about the game just being too short. But honestly, even if this was really only a 12-hour experience for me, it's better than nothing. It's already better than Ukulele, where those levels may have been bigger and maybe even had a little bit more open worldness to them and a little bit more to do, and maybe even a little bit more characters. The Ukulele system, in which you had to enter a world and then exit the world to expand the world, then enter back into the world, and then you had to do a bunch of things to get collectibles. Then you had to get all the collectibles to actually even get to the final boss fight, and then the final boss fight just controlled so terribly that I didn't even bother to defeat it. Those were such major problems at the end of the day that I mostly rage quit Ukulele, because I just didn't want to put up with the frustration of the controls, which is not a problem here. This is controlling exactly as I would expect it. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.